Alive. It's good to be alive. Welcome to episode 5 of Young Hustlers. I have Chase Miller, the entrepreneur here. Say hi, Chase.
Hey guys.
What's up? So, my goal for this series is to interview 100 young people of the entrepreneurial Amazon, FBA, eBay niche and get to know them, the future of the reselling. So, with that being said, let us shout out some people in the chat. We got Thrift Store Gold, Martin, Christina. What's up? How you guys doing? Good, good. Nice to see you here. And so we're just gonna start, Chase. If you want to let us know who you are, what do you do, how long have you been doing it, where do you live, and anything interesting that you like to share.
All right, yeah. Well, first of all, just I appreciate you for having me on the channel and all. So thank you for that. But I'm Chase Miller. I do have a YouTube channel, you guys, but it hasn't been real active lately. Unfortunately, I've been real busy. I live in West Tennessee, in a small community, so I don't live in a big place. So I'm in a rural community. I've got 2 stores. So I own a merchant mall, or like an indoor flea market. It's about 25,000 square feet. I have stuff that I sell, and then we rent out spaces to other people to be able to sell with us as well. And we are just opening a brand new retail store across town. And it's going to be more of new items, from liquidation centers, stuff like that. It's a lot of shelf pulls and new stuff there. I also sell on eBay. I have done Amazon in the past. Not really doing Amazon very much right now. I'm looking more towards eBay, trying to grow that and learn a lot more about working eBay. So
Awesome. We have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions planned out. I wanted to shout out some people in the chat as well. We got Noah Minces. What's up? How you doing, Noah? Good to be here. Thanks for being here. We got also Thrifty CQ. What's up, Chris? How you doing? Like what Chase said, he has a YouTube channel. I put it in the links down below. Definitely subscribe to that. I've been following Chase ever since I started selling on eBay last February, and his content has been really good. Learned a lot from his eBay and thrifting content. So definitely check that out. Awesome. So my first question is, what do you need to run a store, and how does that work?
can you repeat that? You sort of broke up on my end, man.
Yeah, okay, hold on. So my question is, what do you need to run a store, and how did you build your store up to what it's to be now?
Okay, yeah. So I started working here when I was in high school at the store that I first took. So I didn't start it myself. I did buy the business from another individual. I worked here in high school. I worked here probably 5 years, I believe it was, before I actually bought the business myself. And in that time, I learned a lot about it. So I think, knowledge in what you're going into is key to try to, get some research done, like know what you're starting, knowing kind of what you're getting yourself into. I know some people will do better just jumping in, but I still think it's good to know kind of what you're getting yourself into. So before I ever bought my first business, I had worked here for 5 years. I had done deals with them, buying and reselling through the store. So I really got acquainted, and I knew what I was getting myself into again. So as far as what you need, I do 2 different things. So I sell online on eBay. I've done Amazon, like I said, in the past. But as far as a store, like a physical brick and mortar business, obviously you need a building, you need employees. I don't have a lot of employees. I have 4 employees that are all part-time, but they kind of rotate times to where I have people working for me and stuff. And then I work all the time. So that's one thing about it. When you work for yourself, you can kind of create your own schedule, but it's often, at least I find, you work a whole lot more hours than working for somebody else. But if you love what you do, it's not like you're getting up every morning and you're dreading going to work. I love what I do. In it, there's stress sometimes, but I ultimately love what I do. So, obviously, if you want a brick and mortar business, you've got to have a building, you've got to have a location, a physical location to do that. I'd say you probably are going to need some help. It's possible if you do it on a small scale in the beginning that you could do it yourself. But for me, I mean, I work all the time, and so I definitely think having somebody to back you, someone that you can trust and you can rely on to help you run and manage things. So, I would say ultimately, having somebody that you can rely on and trust to help you run your business. Because I know for me, like there's so many things going on that needs to be done that I can't do it all myself. So.
Awesome. Yeah. So we have a few questions coming in. Before that, you can't just, have a store and just start selling stuff, right? Like what kind of business entity did you have to start to do that? If you could explain, like.
Yeah, so locally in West Tennessee, I just set up a doing business as, so a DBA. It's better to probably do some other things, I'll be honest with you. But I do have it in a DBA, so doing business as. So it's like set up for me, like Tristan Chase Miller. Tristan's actually my first name, guys, but I go by Chase. So I have it set up legally, like my full name, but doing business as. Warehouse Market. So I'm branded as Warehouse Market locally. So I just set it up like that.
Awesome. So is that like an LLC or what?
No, not really. It's just a DBA. So like I'm still linked to my business, which isn't the smartest way to do it. I'll be honest with you, but I've never went through the process to do the LLC yet. I need to, really bad need to, but I haven't done that yet. So.
Okay, so let me get to the chat because we have some wonderful questions coming in by Noah. Noah said, did you save up the money and buy it outright or with a loan?
So like I said, I was actually working for the guy 5 years before I bought the place, done business deals with him. Before I actually got into the reselling business and got into the retail side of things, I had ran a lawn care business through high school as well. So I did have a good chunk of money from that business to get in to the resale side of things, to reselling, whether it be I started on Amazon and then, with the retail store locally in the community. But I did have a chunk of money saved up, but I did take out a loan, but the guy owner financed it for me. So I didn't go through any banks or, any kind of credit companies or anything like that. So the guy owner financed it for me at a really good deal. But that I had that relationship built with him. So that just goes to show, like, don't go into a situation just to take value. We need to add value too, but at the same time, I had built that relationship up with the gentleman that I bought the store from, and he trusted me enough and believed in me enough to owner finance it for me. So at this point, I have half of it paid for. I've got about 3 more years in paying the business and the building off. So.
Right on. And Noah also asked a follow-up question. How do you do sales tax? You have to charge for physical sales, but do you also have to get tax permits for other states? If you want to answer that.
Yeah. So in the local store in the community, we do charge sales tax. We are obviously forced to do that. There's no way that I can get around that. So we collect the sales tax and we pay it in monthly is how we do it. That's how we do it with the physical location. eBay is a little bit different. It gets a little more complicated. I do have an accountant that works for me, and he actually takes care of all of my online sales. So I don't mess with that, and I honestly can't answer a lot of those questions. He handles a lot of that for me. I handle the retail store side of it in the physical location because it's easier for me to understand. So I do pay in the sales tax here physically in Tennessee each month. And then my accountant takes care of all online sales, of paying that in. I do know that we have to pay into different states, yes, but I don't know how he has that set up for me, honestly. So.
Wow. So thank you for sharing that, because that is some really um, difficult stuff to understand. But luckily, you have a CPA and you've delegated that to someone else
Yeah.
who can take care of that. So that's pretty good. Lastly, Noah says, I'm trying to buy a warehouse. So just curious how you got the capital for the building. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, before I got into actually the resale side of things, I did have a lawn care business that I was pretty successful with throughout high school and things. I did have a good chunk of money, some capital built up from that. I had a good bit of equipment. I had a lot of money. I lived at home with my parents through high school, and so I did have a good chunk of money saved up to help get my foot in the door when it comes to buying the warehouse and buying the business. The other side of it was, again, like I said, I had the guy owner finance it for me, so you don't have to go through banks or any kind of really credit unions or anything like that. It's just basically you sign the papers, and it's because like he trusts you. Like, if you can build a relationship with somebody to where the numbers add up, that you can prove to them that you should be able to pay it, and they trust you, you can do like an owner finance deal with somebody, and even you don't really even have to have credit for that if they owner finance it. You will be paying a percentage of interest to the person. For me, I got a really great deal, so I'm only like paying like 2 to 3% interest on my deal, but that just requires knowing the right people and building a relationship with somebody. So
Awesome. Thank you, Noah, for those questions. We got Rosie's Closet in the house. What's up, Rosie? How you doing? Also, everyone in the chat, if you haven't subscribed to Rosie, Noah, Thrifty CQ, and Thrift Store Gold, definitely subscribe to your channels. Click on their name and click on subscribe to their channels. You won't regret it. These are people that I actually learned content on reselling. And for example, Noah's talking about wholesale dropshipping. So that is something I definitely learned from. And also subscribe to Chase. His links will be down below. Obviously, he has a store. That is something that you can learn from if you want to get into that in the future. So good to have that knowledge. Also, Noah says, I would switch from a DBA, which is a sole proprietor, to an LLC or S Corp at the least. You can leave yourself open to a lot of liability issues by being a sole proprietor and having a physical location. Any comments on that, Chase?
yeah, like he's absolutely right. I have known about that. My accountant has addressed that issue to me. We just haven't really took the time to do that. Again, that's the stuff that gets above my head. I'm better at like coming up with the stuff to resell and running the day-to-day business in the store or listing on eBay. When it comes to a lot of the legal and the tax stuff, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not the person to answer a lot of questions there. I do have a CPA, an accountant that works for me, and he takes care of a lot of that. He does advise me. Sometimes I'm just busy and stubborn, I guess. But Noah's absolutely correct there. There's a lot of liability that comes with that. For instance, if I was to get sued, they could come after everything that I have, not just say the business itself. So there is a lot of open liability there. So I would advise other people to do different. Don't do what I did there, but I do plan to change that soon. But I've just not took the time to do that yet. Of course, I do have insurance to back me quite a bit, but there is still a lot of liability there on our part for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Noah, for that. And he says, didn't mean to hijack the stream. My bad. No, man. That's why I wanted to have Chase over here, because obviously he has his location. He's starting up a new one. A lot of information and knowledge he can bring here. So I appreciate your questions. Noah, and Noah said they appreciate the info, very helpful. Awesome. So thank you, Chase, for that. Definitely subscribe to Chase's channel. And let's get him to 50 subscribers today.
Yes.
Right on. All right. So my third question, if you were to look at yourself 5 years ago, how would you describe Chase Miller 5 years ago?
5 years ago. Okay. So I've been heavily in what I call heavily into resale side of things, whether it be online or the physical location for 3 years. So 5 years ago, I was definitely a little bit different of an individual. I wasn't as much of a businessman as I am now, I guess you could say. I started in lawn care. So in high school, I had this idea that I needed to make money for myself. I needed a job, but I was in high school and I was also active with a few other things. And I kind of wanted my own schedule, but I wanted to make some decent money. I didn't grow up in a rich family or anything like that. So I mean, I kind of needed to buy a car and get insurance and all that stuff. So um, my stepfather actually had a 99 Jeep Cherokee, and we had a trailer and we had a mower, and I started a lawn business. And so that's kind of the original start for me, I guess, in entrepreneurship, getting into business, making money for myself. So 5 years ago, I mean, yeah, I was doing lawn care, and then I was working at the place that I own now on the weekends. So I was doing lawn care like after school in the week, and then I would get off, or excuse me, I would come in on the weekends to the warehouse where I own the business now. So, and during that process, I was learning a lot. Like I said before, I had good mentors. The guy that I bought it from had a partner in the business, but he owned the building himself. And I had two guys that really mentored me a lot. They believed in me. They trust me. We built good relationships. So I try to add value to them and be a hardworking worker for them. And they added a lot of value and taught me what they knew, when it comes to reselling and running a business. And so the whole time that I was working for them, I enjoyed it, and I was making pretty good money actually for a high school student in a small rural community. But I was also learning a lot. So there's a lot more added value behind the scenes of just making money that came from, building that relationship with a couple of more mature guys that had been in business a lot longer than I have. So.
Awesome. It's pretty interesting to know your perspective, like how you looked at yourself 5 years ago, and it's amazing the change that has happened during that time. So you also said that you went to college. What did you study in college?
Yeah, so I started a community college, a town over from where I live, when I got right out of high school. I was going in to actually study business. So, one of the biggest things that I was always interested in, always kind of wanted to do was get into business. And so, I had the intention of going through college and getting a business degree, and who knows what happens from there. I just kind of went to college because it's kind of the norm of what you're supposed to do. A lot of people that I was in school with, a lot of friends, they were going to college, and I didn't really know at that point exactly what I was going to do. I knew business had always been definitely one of those aspirations, one of those things that I wanted to do and chase after. So I thought, let's go to school for business. But when I got there, it just wasn't the atmosphere, honestly, there that I wanted to be around, and it just wasn't for me. I mean, it wasn't that I was really struggling that much. I made good grades the first semester, and I finished my first semester, but it just wasn't really for me. So.
Interesting. So were you able to meet the professors of business during that time, and what did you think of them if you had?
So yeah, I mean, I was able to meet a couple and talk a little bit, and stuff. But I mean, they were all right guys and stuff, but I didn't really build a relationship with them. It was just school talk. So, um, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say to that. I mean, that I got to know them and they seem like good guys. They were smart in business the little bit, that I got to talk with them personally. But like I said, I didn't really have a relationship there, friend based. It was just, teacher student kind of thing. So it was just schoolwork stuff. But
Okay. And how would you like to see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, if I really had to describe 5 years from now, I would say hopefully the first store that I've got anyway, hopefully will be even more established, will be doing a bigger profit, turning a bigger profit per year. So it's, I already have this business, this store. And so basically, what I would like to see here is ways to improve. Sometimes you can build yourself up and get to a level to where you have a good business, but I believe there's always room to improve. There's always room to study and see, like, what do your customers want or need? What can you change and adapt to do better? And so for my first store, I would say just to improve on the things that the customers want. As far as the second location, we're just opening the second location, and hopefully in 5 years we will have a good branded business there, turn in a good profit. I want to have people that can help back me, good employees to work it that I can trust, and grow eBay. So my biggest goal after opening the second store and getting things settled there is to grow eBay more, because there's so much potential online with eBay. And so once I get the stores up and going and we kind of get established, I'm going to have some people helping me with that. And, I'm going to turn a lot more focus on building up my eBay account and eBay business online. So.
Awesome. Outstanding. So do you do cross listing with eBay and then your store, or if you go out of stock in your store, do you take it off eBay? How does that work?
So not at this point. Most of the stuff that I do in the store is like, I mean, it's all new stuff pretty much. It's shelf pulls and things like that. I sell a lot of like cosmetics, a lot of household goods. There's definitely some stuff that I could sell on eBay from there, but I keep it separate. So the store stuff I buy for the store, for the local community, I keep it on the shelves. I don't usually list that stuff on eBay. Most of the stuff that I do on eBay comes from two places. The eBay stuff comes from a thrift store, or actually a couple of thrift stores, but mainly one, which is Give Me Five. There's several of them around West Tennessee and Middle Tennessee. I go there a lot. And then I go to a liquidation center in Indiana and I buy pallet loads of, return shelf pulls, overstocks. It's kind of a mixture. A lot of it is Amazon stuff. Some of it's not, but the biggest majority of it is like Amazon liquidations. And so a lot of the stuff that comes from that goes on eBay, and it's like, it's not stuff that I have multiples of. It's like kind of mix match individuals, so I may only have like one or two of them. And that's kind of the stuff that I do on eBay. The store is more of, I sell a lot of stuff there that's, like for instance, like Lysol and soap and stuff like that. So it's not really stuff that I would look to do on eBay very much, but.
Okay, interesting. So how long have you been reselling right now?
Online or in general?
In
So
general, in general.
in general, probably around like 7 years, honestly, because it was right after I started the job working in the warehouse that I bought in high school. Just a little after I got the job, I started going in reselling with the owners, my bosses, and so that was kind of the beginning of it.
Okay, so in your 7 years of reselling, what was the biggest sale you've ever done? How much did you pay for it? How much did it cost to ship? And how much did you profit after fees?
Okay, we are talking about the biggest sale on eBay or the biggest sale in general.
In general, whatever you feel.
Um, the biggest sale that I've done in general would be locally through the merchant market that I own, and I sold a zero turn lawnmower for like $2,000 that I paid like $600 for, I believe. So that was probably like the biggest sale, that one single sale that I've sold. But
Awesome. So you did that locally, right? How does that?
yeah, that was definitely locally. I didn't ship that. So
Yeah, yeah, that would have been insane. How about in terms of like shipping? What is the most you've made on something you have to ship? Let's just say.
um, I've sold a few nice Canon cameras, but I made pretty good profit margins on them. I can't remember exactly. Other than that, what I got the most excited about, honestly, is I paid $1 at one of the Gimme Five thrift stores for a big old stack. I don't even remember how many was in it for, but it was a big old stack of the Blu-ray DVD-Rs. So like, you can put your own stuff on there and movies and stuff. I got it for $1 in the bins, and this was only like a couple months ago, and it sold for like, I think it was like $85 or something like that, and I paid $1 for it. So I mean, you can kind of do, minus the 13% eBay, PayPal fees, the dollar, and then I don't remember what it cost to ship it, but it wasn't that much. So that was probably the biggest profit margins in one single item that I've had on eBay. So.
Awesome. So it just shows what's possible. Um, do you have any other income streams or other income streams that you would like to get into in the future? In the future.
So other than the store and eBay, and then soon the second store, which we open that in a couple more weeks or so, like the 1st of September, we officially launched the second store. Other than that, I don't have any other income streams really right now. I do occasionally invest in some other things. I've been into Bitcoin a little bit in the past. I'm not as of the moment, but back in 2017 I did. I have bought and sold one house before. I made a few $1,000s off that investment. Um, and so, as far as the future, that's kind of the direction that I would eventually like to get into more. After establishing my two stores, building up eBay, and then just kind of, I guess, building up, saving up. Real estate is definitely the next route. That might be a few years down the road, but as far as like rentals, maybe storage units, and just maybe flipping some houses, something like that. But basically, it comes down to real estate. So in the future.
Awesome. That's a good goal right there. Before I move on to the next question, we got Thrift Store Gold. He says, "Hi, Martin, Christina," and they say, "Looking good, Chase."
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. Just definitely subscribe to his channel. I'm not sure how much you are at now, but let's try to get him to 50 today. I love his content. He's spitting some really good information right here about, building a store and how to, run it. So definitely subscribe to his channel. And they said big old stack. Must be the CDs. Yeah, the Blu-ray CDs. Awesome.
Yeah.
Up with that. Um, real estate. So how did you buy a house and flip it? You gotta like explain it to us who don't really know much about real estate.
So yeah. So this wasn't in 2019. This was back in 2018, actually. But there was a little cabin that came up for sale on the river. I was just actually driving by one day down on the river, and it was up for sale. I noticed, and I had kind of knew the people that had it up for sale and everything, and so I'd done a little negotiation with them on that. and I was able to come up, with the money to purchase it. I knew it was a really good deal. I got a really good deal on it. I negotiated to get a little bit better deal. And then I didn't remodel it or anything like that. I just sold it as is, but I knew I was getting it so cheap. And because it was like close to the river, like a river lot, that it would definitely bring more. And so I had it a little bit longer than what I would like to, but I think I had it for like 5 months, give or take a little bit. But I ended up making like, after some fees and stuff, and I don't remember all the fees. Again, it gets to where my accountant helped handle some of that stuff. But I ended up making around $6,000 on that flip, and I didn't touch it really. I mean, I just bought it, put it back in real estate, and then sold it. I just got a really good deal on it, and I knew I would be able to make some money. My goal was to make like 10 grand on it. I really wanted to make 10,000 on it. I did not. I came down some to get it sold. It set for 5 months, a little plus, but ended up making around 6,000. So
That's an awesome flip right there. And you said you didn't have to touch it or
no, I mean, I bought it and I touched it physically. I went in it a couple of times, but no, I didn't do anything to it. I didn't remodel. I didn't fix anything up. I mean, it wasn't in really bad shape. They just wanted to get out from under it quick. They were moving and stuff, and I was able to work out a pretty good deal to get it for. And I knew I could make a few thousand on it anyway. So I thought, I had to put money into it to make that, but I knew that I should be able to make something out of it. I didn't get, my goal was like I said, 10,000, but I got 6. So, and I didn't do anything to it. So it was pretty well 6,000 profit.
Awesome. So do you need a real estate license to do something like that, or how does that work?
Not that I'm aware of anyway in West Tennessee. No, basically I just bought the house. I didn't sell it. I did go through I sold it. I owned the house, but I went through a real estate company that sold it for me. So they did take those fees out. But again, I sold it for enough to, at the end of the day, make around $6,000 in profit on it. So after the fees, of the real estate agents and all. So.
Wow, that's impressive right there. So how come, let me try to I have a question. So if I was like a real estate company and I saw that property, why wouldn't I just buy it from the original seller rather than buying it from you who just bought it for cheap? Why not? How come that doesn't happen? Or did they just not do their research on it? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a real good question. So a lot of, I don't really know everything about real estate myself. I just knew that it was a really good deal. My accountant that works for me, he does real estate deals, so I was able to talk to him about it and get some advice on it. He's not the person that sold it for me. I did go through a different local real estate agency company locally to do that. But there's a lot of real estate agents out there, and I'm sure if they wanted to, or had the time to drive around and see these places, that they would buy them and flip them themselves. So this house was for sale by the owner, basically. And I talked to them personally and was able to negotiate the price. I don't know if other real estate agents just, if they didn't see it or didn't know about it, or if they just wasn't interested. I would think if I had a real estate agency that I definitely would. But I don't know exactly the reasons to why it didn't sell before I got it. Because I thought it was, I knew it was a good deal, and it was close to the river, which here is pretty good real estate because people like to buy close to the river here for the summer months, vacations, and they get out on the river and stuff. So.
Awesome. So you actually bought it with your own cash that you saved up, not through a bank, right?
Yes, this was through my own cash. This wasn't, I didn't take a loan out for this. So that was just saving and working hard over the last 3 years in business that I had enough to do that. So
That's impressive right there. So that's awesome. Thank you, Chase, for sharing that. Awesome.
absolutely.
So I'd like to get back to the chat. Rosie's Closet says, I subbed. You're at 48 subscribers right now.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes, definitely. If you're just joining us, subscribe to Chase's YouTube, and his Instagram will be down there as well. Yeah, definitely subscribe. He spins a lot of knowledge right here. So it's pretty cool. And Rosie's Closet says, I missed it. Where are you from?
So yeah, I'm from West Tennessee in a small town.
Awesome. Yes. So if you have any questions in the chat, feel free to comment them and we will let Chase answer them. But for the next few questions, what is the hardest thing about your reselling journey?
The hardest thing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, whatever personally you've been through in this journey.
Sometimes it's just for me personally, I stress about a lot of little things. And so I've had a few customers that's left really angry before. So that's pretty stressful for me. I've been cussed out a couple times over, not coming down on a price for something that was in the retail store and things like that. So when you're dealing with the public, something to think about is there's all kinds of people that you meet and that you come in contact with. And for me, luckily, I've been what I would consider blessed to have a lot of good people, good customers come through my store. But there are definitely times where you have some different people that come through, I'll say. And, so I've, at the end of the day, you can only do what you can do. Like, I've made a few people mad and got some cussings in the store. Not recently, but it's happened. So that's pretty stressful. And I hate dealing with that. I hate dealing with that part of business, with angry, angry people, customers that come through. But you can only do what you can do at the end of the day. You still got to run a business. You still got to turn a profit. And you can't lose. So you got to be smart there. You don't want to run people off, but at the same time, you've got to turn a profit. So.
Wow. So yeah, you got to have some like level of professionalism because, it is face-to-face contact. It's not like eBay where, it's online and you just message each other, through the platform. But this is something very different. And it's very cool that
Yeah.
you showed us and shared with us your experience with this. Awesome. Thank you, Chase. So you mentioned earlier that you could get sued, possibly. Like for example, what is like one of the reasons that you can get sued? If you have like anything you'd like to share.
So yeah. So when you own a place of business like a brick and mortar, there's a lot of times that if people trip and fall, you could possibly get sued for something as little as that. If you've got a bump in the sidewalk and somebody falls and it's on your if it's your sidewalk, it's your property, you're liable, you and your business. And so I do carry liability insurance for that. So I'm covered quite a bit. That does help protect me a lot. But at the end of the day, say the lawsuit was bigger than what I was covered for. If the lawsuit was bigger than the amount that I'm covered for, I would be liable to obviously pay that. I do pay insurance that covers me for a couple million, but over that, which hopefully it never happens in general, but if it did, and it got over that, if it was a really extensive injury, and say the lawsuit did go over that, I would have to pay that. They can come after me, my assets, and because I'm not an LLC or something along that nature, and it is tied directly to me as an individual, as a sole proprietorship, they can come after all of my stuff that's tied to me, that's not really tied to my business. So like they can come after my personal vehicles, they could come after my house, anything that's not necessarily associated with your business, but it's still tied to you. Because at the end of the day, when you're a sole proprietorship, everything is you. So you are you. It's linked to your social. In other words, it's not like um, a separate corporation that like you're over. Or a different business branch, like it's all connected to you. So as they can come after your business side or your building or, money in the business account, they can come after all of your personal assets as well. It can be anything as small as a fall. If say a light bulb fell out of the ceiling and knocked somebody over the head, if a commercial shelf collapsed over on somebody, there's a lot of things that you can be sued over, really.
Wow. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. How about if you were selling on eBay and your customer tripped on a package you sent them? Do you think you're liable for that? Do you have any experience or any knowledge on that? I don't know.
That I don't have any idea, man. That's a great question, but I wouldn't think, but I don't know about that.
Okay.
I
Okay.
really don't know the answer to that question. So
Okay. Thank you. That was just one of my, just me thinking.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So what I'm on the last two questions here, and if anyone in the chat has any questions, feel free to comment them, and we will answer. Chase will answer them. But what kind of person do you have to be to run a business with actual employees? What kind of relationship did you have with your employees, and how do you make them happy, and how do they make you happy? If you have any advice on that, because it can definitely make or break your business.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, like I said earlier, one of the biggest things for me that you need in a business is people that can back you up, people that you can trust to help run things when you need the help, when you're not there, when you're busy doing another deal or something. I mean, so people, employees. It's a vital part of especially a brick and mortar business, and so for me, I've been really blessed. For the people that work for me, again, I don't have a large staff. You guys, I know it sounds like I do all this stuff, but I actually do have a pretty small staff. It's basically me, and then I have about 3 to 4 other people that work for me. None of them are full-time positions. They're all part-time. They're just as needed in and out through the weeks. So the relationship personally, they're all people that I've known. They're all really good friends of mine. So for me, I've been able to get people that I've known previously before even taking the business over myself, so that they can help me. They're people that I know. They're people that I can trust, that I already had an established friendship or relationship with in some way. And so that's for me, it's made it easier. I know some people say, separate business from family. And I can understand that to an extent, because at the end of the day, like, you've got to take the business in the direction that you want it to go. And sometimes family members or close friends, like, they work for you, but yet they want to have kind of the lead sometimes. And so that can be a little tricky sometimes. But for me, I've just been really blessed to have good people that stand behind me, and ultimately, they want to help lead me in the right direction and make the right choices. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they know it's my decision to lead the business in the direction that I want to go. And so, sometimes that can be like a little bit tricky, but overall for me, it's been a blessing. But I would say treat your employees. If you have people that work for you, if you're ever looking to grow to that level of having people to work for you, try to find people that are trustworthy. If you have a relationship with them and that they're going to be trustworthy people, because at the end of the day, you need people that you can trust. I mean, like you said, it can make you or break you. If you got people that's not doing their job, that's not running the business correctly, that's running people off, that's stealing something from you, I mean, it can be the end. I mean, that's just the truth. It does matter that much, especially in a small town like I'm in. But you know, find people that you can trust, and you know, be the boss, you know, because you have to lead things, but don't be the boss to where you're like, you know, do this, do that all the time. I mean, they're people, so treat them like people, you know. If you have the opportunity to be blessed enough to treat them like family and them still listen to you, but you know, hey, go for that. So
Awesome. Yeah, definitely gotta lead by example, because that's where it all starts. Awesome. So, any advice for someone who wants to start reselling? Let's say they have $10 budget. They want to start reselling. Any advice for those who want to get started? What do you do? What do you buy? Where do you sell? Any advice, Chase?
yeah, so I mean, you know, if you're starting off small, and you don't have a big budget to spend, you know, I'll be honest, I would start with eBay. You know, if you've got like $10 in your name, and you know, that you can afford to invest, you know, get on eBay, because I mean, I know I done it the opposite way around, but that's just because you know, doors opened for me at the right time, and everything was able to lead. Not that I've ever been like rich in my life, because I'm not, and I didn't come from a family like that. I just worked at an early age and was able to save, and the, you know, the right doors opened up. But if you are really starting off small, I would say eBay is definitely the place to go, to sell, because you know, you don't really have those fees in the beginning to get going until you sell an item, if you structure it that way. So you can just, you know, you can list an item, and when you sell, you pay, you know, around 13% or so, I think it is, with eBay and PayPal fees. You know, you can go to a lot of thrift stores, especially I know in West Tennessee. I think Christina and Martin, you know, they do this. You can go to the dollar tag day. I mean, I do that every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday anyway. I go out. That's my big thrift day. I hit up a lot of areas, a lot of different stores. But there's the Give Me Five that I go to locally. Everything's $1. And like I said earlier in the video, I bought, you know, the Blu-ray DVD packs, DVD-Rs. I paid $1 for them, brand new in the wrapper, and I sold them for like $85 somewhere in there. So I mean, you can do the math. You take the 13% minus the fees, and you know, a little bit for shipping the dollar, and that's, you know, that's kind of what I made. So, you know, if you could do some wins like that, which I know is not going to happen necessarily every day, being honest. But there's definitely possibility to grow with, you know, $10 to possibly a couple $100, and then, you know, you can scale that even more. The wins don't come every day, but there's a lot of possibilities and opportunities out there if you're willing to take the time to learn your market, learn the good thrift stores, figure out, you know, what stuff's selling on eBay, figure out how to work eBay. The possibilities out there. So I would definitely say, you know, online with eBay, that's where you can get started for the least amount of upfront costs, no doubt. So
Awesome. You said it good, man. Lastly, advice for someone who they're running their business on their garage or in their room. They need some space. They need some extra storage. They need people to help them. Any advice to those who want to finally hire employees, finally get a storage or a warehouse, or even start a store? Any advice for those people? Ace.
yeah. So I would say for sure, you know, just know what you're getting yourself into. Number one, like don't dive in not knowing the cost and the expense, because that's how you get yourself in trouble. Run the numbers and make sure you think you're getting to the numbers that you need to be at to move to that direction. Anytime you're looking to grow, you know, I look at the risk. And you know, if you're not anywhere close to the numbers now that you would need to be to cover that expense, then I would not look into doing that. But if you're growing, you're doing the numbers to where you can cover some more expense, and you can lead that into higher profit margins, growing your business. If those numbers are right for you, I would say go after it, but just be smart about it. If you need some more space for like a storage warehouse, like a mini warehouse, getting started, you're kind of moving from a room, from a garage, because you need more space. I know a lot of people that have rented storage units. So you can rent a storage unit. The cost may be different and vary probably from your location across the country or wherever you're at. Here, I know the numbers for storage units, but I don't know where they are across the board, so I'm not going to throw those numbers out. But you can rent a pretty good size storage unit for a pretty good price. It's going to be a whole lot cheaper than you going full out into a big warehouse or a big store or something like that. A big building to be able to store stuff for eBay, or if you're doing auctions and you're moving stuff, or so if you just need a place to really store, and even employees work, you can have that through a storage unit. A lot of storage units, they have lights, they have electricity. I mean, you can set up stuff there. I would definitely run it by the people that you're renting the storage units from, the storage building from. Kind of what you're doing. It's good to have a good ground with people and just be upfront. But I know people that do that, and they start their business right there, and it's more affordable to get started. You've got the space, you've got a place for employees to come. Obviously, it may not be heated and cooled efficiently, but if you can do a big fan, or if you can get heaters for the wintertime, I mean, it's doable, it's manageable. So I think that's a good place to start if you're just kind of in the spot of moving from a room, moving from a garage. You need a bigger space. You need a place where an employee can come. Look at some storage units in your area. That's going to be the most affordable before you actually move to a warehouse or something. So that's in my opinion a good option for the next level.
Awesome, outstanding. So I gotta shout out some people in the house. We got NASCAR Man 3345. What's up, Derek? Everybody in the chat, definitely subscribe to Derek. He is also a reseller, and he also does some car racing in his channel, so that's pretty cool. And Thrifty CQ says hi, NASCAR Man. So we got 4 people in the chat. Definitely subscribe to Chase's YouTube channel. It'll be on the description down below. Let's get him to 50 subscribers. And Chase, I'm about to close this interview. The last question: who is someone that you look up to, and what has that person taught you about life or?
So yeah, for me, I would definitely say the person I look up to the most is um, the guy that I bought the business from. He taught me a lot, and so I definitely look up to him. I learned from it, and you could say under his feet and everything. And so I would definitely say the guy that got me the business really in the beginning. That I bought the house from. He's definitely the guy that taught me the most over the years.
I think that was. I don't know. Did you hear anything on your end? Because I couldn't hear you on my end.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear anything.
Sorry, if you want to just say it really quick.
Okay, yeah.
I hear you now.
So,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So yeah, I was just saying, answering your question. I mean, the guy that I look up to the most would be the guy that I bought the business from. I was under his wing for several years, and he taught me a lot. He gave me really the opportunity to get into business on the scale that I have. And so I respect him a lot. I look up to him a lot, and he's taught me a whole lot over the 7 or so years. So
Awesome. So I'd like to thank you, Chase, for taking time out of your day. Let's see what Thrifty CQ says. Thrifty CQ says already subbed. Thank you. and he said sound is
Thank.
muffled. So I think it's already fixed now. I would look in the replay, but I'd like to thank you, Chase, for taking time out of your busy day to be here.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it.
Yep, everybody. For the replay later on, I'll be posting timestamps for the topics that we discussed. Chase's YouTube channel will be down below. Any questions, feel free to leave them on the comments. And his Instagram for his daily content, whenever he posts, will be down below as well. So yeah, until then, thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned for the next live stream. My goal for this live stream series is to interview many young people and get to know them, learn from their mistakes, and get to know them in this reselling community. So I love this community, taught me a lot, and it's not easy, but I'm very thankful to have Chase and everyone else in the chat who has definitely supported me and helped me out and taught me things that I've learned and be able to avoid those mistakes as well. So with that being said, Chase's YouTube channel will be down below. Subscribe to his channel and you will get to see his content on how he's building a store. He already has 2 stores coming up. He's only 23, so that's pretty amazing. So thank you, Chase, for that. Until then, hustle mode on, everybody. Have a good day. Good night.